Hello YouTube, this is Dakota from Bowtied Media, and today we've got a brand new review of Slushii's Operation Overload EP. Before we go any further, yes, this was indeed voted on by the Bowtied gang, the channel members of this, channel. So if you want to have a say in what videos get produced every week, you can join channel membership today. Slushii is here with his technically third studio EP under this alias, producing an 8-track, almost 30-minute EP, and up to this point in his career, Slushii has been a mixed bag at best, I would say. Slushii, alongside Marshmello, both embody this relatively bright and cheery persona within the EDM space, while often playing around a slew of unique styles and genres. To me, Slushii has sort of become synonymous with rudimentary EDM production that is made particularly for an audience that doesn't really care too much to dive deep into the musicality of things, particularly within the EDM space. You can pretty much define Slushii's career as carefree bangers. Something simple and easy to get into for a crowd of EDM enjoyers that are primarily there for just the vibes. But it had been a hot minute since we got a new project from Slushii after he dropped not one, but 2 albums bookending the summer of 2022 with Extinction Level Event releasing on Monstercat and A Slushii Summer releasing on Dim Mak. Both albums that landed on my worst records of the year list, sadly. So I think it's pretty fair to say that I was skeptical at best heading into this latest EP. And much to my surprise and enjoyment, this is potentially Slushii's best showing for a holistic package of tunes, maybe ever in his career? Now, I do say that with a touch of salt because while this may be overall one of his stronger projects, it's still not quite a great record in its own right. Operation Overload is truly a mixed bag of genres, melodies, ideas, production quality, mixing. There really appears to be no cohesion at all between any of the tracks here. And honestly, that in and of itself wouldn't be too much of a major turnoff from a record like this, but as I listened to and kind of loved records in the past that have no tonal cohesion whatsoever, they all kind of have some extra oomph to them. But within this mixed bag, the individual pieces don't really stand too well on their own. And surprisingly, it was the first 2 tracks and the singles also here that ended up, being ones I liked the least. It's Not Over Till It's Over was both the first single to be released and the first of the track list, as Slushii heads back to his roots for a kind of classic Slushii sounding track. The song utilizes his now signature pitched up and processed vocals, as well as resides firmly within that crushing brostep style. Maybe a decade ago, I would be more into this bright and aggressive sound design, but in 2025, the style feels a little tired and outdated. And my biggest gripe with this track is something that actually shows up numerous times throughout this project, and that's the fact that the transition from drop to off drop section sound wildly disconnected. They don't sound like they're from the same song in any realm of the fact of the matter, making for a pretty jarring listen on top of an already jagged brostep sound. And keeping with the odd transitions here, Wanna Be the One with Seti Hendrix is up next in the track list and has the single wildest genre switch up I think I've heard this year. Prefacing as this kind of speed house, almost underground style of EDM, with Slushii's kind of classic vocals and high energy, the song quickly morphs into a commercial pop rap cut that exists only to stream well, only to bring back that explicitly kind of dance beat for the final movement. In a vacuum, I don't really think each movement is necessarily too off-putting, but it's the forcing of 2 very opposing styles into one track that just doesn't really work well for me. The third track, Even Without You, with Spirit Link, is a more typical future-based Slushii cut that leans most into the sounds of his alternative alias of Sapient Dream, with the atmospheric tone and dreamy synths. This track is one of the stronger cuts of the record, and to me is a style in which Slushii most often excels in. Chasing the Stars with Lost Chameleon is next, and we are very much back to the mixed bag of sounds and genres. Each movement of this track is very intentionally unique, as Slushii bounces around some electro house, brostep, trap, and even some hyper pop aesthetics here and there. This is just another one of those grab bag of ideas that Slushii threw into a single track that doesn't really have any highlights nor lowlights. Pretty much a song that just exists. I Wish You the Best is the 5th track and introduces us to a pure house beat for the first time of this record, bringing our now subgenre count to 7, I think, and we're only at the halfway point. This track has a bit of a weird pseudo-acoustic intro and trying to go for these like R&B stylized auto-tune ad-libs, and I don't know, just didn't quite land for me. The vocals really aren't that great on their own, and at times even a little off-putting. But otherwise, the house production is again, just fine. Psychosis is our next track, and by far my favorite from the EP. Expanding upon that house sound, this track is a commercially friendly, deep house cut that is without a doubt the cleanest track of the bunch. The uncredited vocals are actually pretty great and help give the track that radio appeal, while the simple, deep house beat is quite frankly a bop. It's honestly a little sad to me that this song sounds so unlike everything else on this project, yet sounds miles stronger than what's second best. In fact, I think this individual track might be Slushii's best of this decade so far, and it's not even an overly complex track. Our penultimate track is Aurora Borealis, and was my biggest "why does this exist" of the record. For some reason, Slushii decided that he really wanted to get a Sapient Dream track in here, so he gives us a 4-minute instrumental ambient track that just doesn't really fit into the ecosystem of this record. For an EP titled Operation Overload, this song is not really overloading anything, and is in fact a peaceful reprieve for a moment that, quite frankly, didn't need one. And Go With You with Nitrofun closes out the track list with a throwback electro house track that sounds like it's been plucked straight out of 2015. It's nothing overly crazy or super exciting, but a simple little cut to close the record out. After it's all said and done, this EP might just be the most mixed bag of anything I've heard this decade. Almost every movement, tonal shift, and idea presented vastly changes at the next given opportunity. So much so that I'm not really sure who this record is for. Is this for EDM purists like myself that want a bit of everything sometimes? Well, if it is, I don't really appreciate how often things are getting changed on me, and also don't have time to sit and soak in each sound before things move right along to the next wildly different idea. Maybe if this was labeled as a mixtape or a compilation or something else, the wild mood swings might be more understandable, but in this EP format, in the way it's presented, I'm struggling to grasp onto anything really. And with all that being said, I'm going to give Slushii's Operation Overload EP a Bowtied 5 out of 10. Well, let me know what you think of this brand new review of Slushii's latest EP. Am I right on the nose? Am I wildly off? Do you think I'm right? Do you disagree with me? I'm curious to know in the comment section below. But other than that, I'm Dakota from Bowtied Media, and I'll see you guys in another video.